Well, here we are. Welcome, Sigrid.
Hello, Jane. Great to be here.
I have to say, sometimes there are a few little technical glitches, but here we are today. So apologies for being a couple of minutes late, but welcome to our networking live stream. This is going to be a fantastic opportunity for all of you to really perfect your pitch, because a lot of people feel uncomfortable about networking, don't they, Sigrid?
They certainly do. It's that fear of performance to some extent. What do I say? How much do I say? Will people actually understand what I'm saying? That comes up time and time again.
Yeah, and so many people feel a bit icky when it comes to networking, uncomfortable, because they feel like, oh, I've got to perform in a way. But no, that's not what networking is all about. And so we'll be explaining that now. If you're watching live, please pop into the comments where you're watching from, because we'd love to know where in the world you are listening or tuning in from, and we'd love to get to know you during the course of this live broadcast as well. And also, if you have any comments or questions during the session, please pop it in the comments as soon as they pop into your head, and at the end of the session we will answer all of your questions. If for any reason we can't get to all of your comments and questions, then after the live stream we will be answering them all in the chat. Okay, so I hope that will be the most convenient way for all of you as well. So Sigrid, shall we get into a little bit of intro with regard to networking? Okay,
let's have our introduction, Jane. Go on.
I'll kick it off. So welcome everybody. Okay, when people hear the word networking, they feel uncomfortable. They think it's transactional and a bit forced. It's almost as though we're meant to walk into a room and somehow perform. But that is not how meaningful opportunity happens. In my experience, both in my corporate career and now in my coaching practice, the most powerful networking, honestly, comes from genuine relationship building. This is how Sigrid and I got to know each other as well. It's not just business. It ends up becoming personal if it's a really good relationship. And so genuine relationship building is about clarity, consistency, and trust. But people veer away from it because they don't know what to say at the beginning, and it feels a bit uncomfortable. So today, whether you're a job seeker or you're a business owner, networking is not about impressing people. It's about being clear on who you are, what you offer, and how you actually make a difference. And so when you're clear, the conversations become a bit easier, more natural, and more productive. So we're going to today approach networking in a way that feels authentic and effective, so you don't have to feel all that anxiety. So here's my very quick introduction. I'm Jane Jackson. I'm a career management coach and author of Navigating Career Crossroads. I specialize in career transition coaching. I help you to break through fear and self-doubt, gain clarity of purpose, and the confidence to create the life and career you deserve. And now I'd love you to find out all about Sigrid. So Sigrid, how about you introduce yourself too?
Well, yours was excellent, Jane. It was short and sharp, and it said everything it needed to be said. So here's my short and sharp one. I'm a global visibility and networking strategist. I help coaches and consultants who want to expand globally, turn networking conversations into collaborations, opportunities, and clients globally.
Ah, perfect. Globally, that's what Sigrid does, and her online networking events, which are global, are absolutely wonderful. Highly recommend that you attend one of them and see what you think. Okay, and we'll give you details of how you can find out more about what Sigrid and I do a little bit later on. So how about we go straight into a couple of questions for whoever is joining us today. I think we've got, I can see on my phone, we've got about 25 people here. How lovely that you're here. And in the comments, we have quite a few already, from Sydney to Toowoomba, Melbourne, Tampa in Florida, Sunshine Coast, Auckland. Oh my goodness, so many people from Melbourne, and Gunnar is here as well. How lovely to see you here. Okay, what I want to know is 2 questions for you, okay? And pop them in the chat and we'll have a look at them a little bit later. First question is, what do you feel is the hardest thing about networking, whether you're a job seeker or a business owner? What is the hardest thing, in your opinion, about networking? Okay, that's one question, the hardest thing. The second one is, if you've landed a job or new business through your network, share your story in the comments. If it's been successful, let's hear about it. Okay, and so you know what I think I should do here, Sigrid, is I should actually turn this into a little banner. Yeah, my question, turn it into a banner so that people can answer them. So I'm just going to copy and paste this into a banner and add it and show. So here is the question. What do you feel is the hardest about networking as a job seeker or a business owner? And our second question is this one. And I'll turn that into another banner as well. Yeah, very quickly I can create banners. I'm very pleased with myself. And there you go. If you've landed a job or new business through your network, share your story in the comments. Okay. All right. So let's go into the presentation itself, and I'll just close my questions, and hopefully we'll be getting lots of responses as to, oh yes, they're coming through now, which is great. So I'm going to start my presentation, which will be for job seekers. And then after I've done that, then we're going to go on to Sigrid's presentation. Okay. Now, I hope that you have all downloaded the presentations already. If you haven't, then here is the link to mine, and Sigrid will show you the link to hers as well. Okay, so just popping it in the comments there. Okay, and Sigrid, you add yours as well. So I'm just waiting for that to load. Make sure it goes. A little bit slow at the moment. Okay, that should be there now. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and let's go into the presentation. Everybody ready? I hope so. All right. So this is how to network, okay, to land a job. And I'm going to show you 3 templates today, very briefly. We're not going to take up a lot of your time. It's just enough so you've got something to work with, okay? So in the PDF that I hope that you will download, it tells you a little bit about networking, and Sigrid and I will discuss this as well. But the first thing is I want you to have a very short pitch or introductory positioning statement. This is really good when you're in a group networking situation and they might be going around the room and say, okay, everybody introduce yourselves. And you know how sometimes, and Sigrid, chime in here as well, when you're in a networking event, sometimes people introduce themselves and it goes on and on for too long. Have you ever experienced that, Sigrid?
Yes, look, that happens so often. Partially that is fear. They want to make sure that everything that they do is being heard in that short moment of time that usually, you know, you've got, I don't know, 30 to perhaps 60 seconds. And it's just overwhelming without the person themselves realizing that it is overwhelming.
Yes, and you know, I used to co-host the LinkedIn Live Sydney events pre-COVID, and we hosted them for about 3 years. And what I used to do is I'd say 5 to 10 second introductions. Okay, go. But people would have to do it. And if 10 seconds went by, I would go ding. Okay, moving on to the next one. So it really forced people to be clear and concise. So the format that we would use then, and I love to use this now, and I have to thank the KPI program for this, because this is where I actually got the idea, is name, same, claim to fame. Your name is who you are. I'm Jane Jackson. Name. Same is who am I? What am I? I'm a career management coach. So name, same, Jane Jackson. I'm a career management coach. That's easy, isn't it? Claim to fame. You are a specialist in your area of expertise. So my claim to fame is I specialize in career transition coaching. How easy is that? I'm Jane Jackson. I'm a career management coach. I specialize in career transition coaching. I could make it a bit longer and add a bit more detail, like I'm a career management coach and author of Navigating Career Crossroads, because it's relevant. And I specialize in career transition coaching because you're navigating your career crossroads. But I don't have to have all that information. If I'm going to do it in 5 seconds, that's it. name, same, claim to fame. Now, the aim gives people a little bit more meat to work with so they understand exactly what it is that you do and how you help people. So I help professionals overcome fear and self-doubt, gain the career clarity and confidence they need to create the career they desire, or land a job that's a good fit, or explore starting their own business. Okay, so that's my aim. This is how I help people. So think about yours. What is your name, same, claim to fame initially? And if you've got an aim already, why not pop that in the chat so everybody knows? And I can highly recommend that if you read something in the chat that you think, oh, that person's really interesting, then why not? We're on LinkedIn. Why not reach out and connect with them as well and expand your network while you're on this session? What do you think of this, Sigrid?
Look, networking is all about making connections, and I think it's absolutely a great idea to connect with each other that you see in the comments and to find out more. I say that you never know what network is behind that one person. It might not be that one person directly the right person for you, but their whole network. So connect, find out, converse with them.
Yeah, that's right. And what's so wonderful is this is just a great opportunity for you to see who else is on the call, and maybe they can help you or you can help them. The thing with networking is have a mindset of abundance so that, you know, you're not in competition with other people. It's how can we help each other? And that's how we start to build that trust. And as people see that you are genuinely trustworthy, then you can start to build even more of your credibility too. So name, same, claim to fame, very easy in a group setting. And now this is really more for job seekers, okay? So I have 3 networking introductions that you can use that's documented in my book, Navigating Career Crossroads, the PAL format, the Pearl format, during which you gain pearls of wisdom, and the peak format, because that's your main aim, is to get in front of hiring managers. Today, I'm going to share the PAL and the peak. No, I'm not. I'm going to share the PAL and the Pearl format. Okay, so what's a PAL format? This is for good friends, mates, family members, people you feel 100% very, very relaxed and comfortable with, because you want to get some feedback as a job seeker to see if the way you think you're being perceived really is how you're being perceived. Yes? So you pitch, you ask, and you listen. The pitch is what your current situation is, because these are friends and family members. So it's basically, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. As you know, I'm a career management coach or whatever you may be, and I'm currently in transition. I'm looking for another role. And you only tell people I'm looking for another role because they're very, very close friends and family and you feel okay with it, okay? Then what you want is to ask for some feedback. And so in your experience of me over the years, what is it that stands out the most about what I can do, who I am, and all the positives, please? And then, are there areas for improvement? And so listen, don't get all defensive, when they, your sister or your brother tells you, their honest truths, but really listen to what they've got to say and take it on board, okay? So pitch, ask, and listen. Simple, with the easy people, the ones who you feel comfortable with. The next one is the Pearl method, where here what you want is to expand your general network, reach out to people that you may have worked with before, past colleagues, current colleagues, clients, customers, and reach out to them for specific advice and guidance. And the aim is to gain additional people to talk to, they recommend, in the area that you're targeting. So you must have a pitch, explain what the situation is, okay, where you're at this point in time, explain what you're hoping to do, let them know what your target audience may be, which industries, which companies, specific individuals that you hope to be introduced to, if you know that they might be connected to them. And then you need to make the ask. Here's where people feel a little bit uncomfortable about making the ask. Is there any advice and guidance and feedback that you can provide to me as to how I can best conduct my job search? And then request is, who would you recommend that I should speak with to further my networking activities? Is there anyone within this company or this industry that you think wouldn't mind providing me with a little bit of advice and guidance? I know that they probably won't have any opportunities or jobs, so I'm not looking for a job through them. It's just getting insights into their industry. And hopefully you'll get one or two names, because that's the whole aim of this meeting, yes. And then finally link them with a benefit. Thank you so much for your time. Now that I know that you're really interested in, I don't know, it's AI or this type of business or dogs or this sort of sport, then let them know that you have something that might be of interest to them. You know, oh, there's an article that I read recently that I think you'll find interesting. May I email it to you? And so follow up with an email and give them that little bit of value, even if it's just something nothing to do with business. It's just maintaining that contact. Anyone you network with, make sure you follow up. Do not network and ghost. That's not nice, right? So this is your Pearl method in order to get more connections, hopefully. So there's the Pearl method, and the Peak method. I actually explained that in my book, Navigating Career Crossroads, and I go through it in my Career Success Program. In the Maintain Momentum, I want you to list the number of people who might you be able to reach out to, who might be able to connect you with other people. So list these people. There is a mindset issue too, and I want Sigrid, you to chime in on this, because some people just find it really difficult to create a pitch or an introduction. What's stopping them from pitching? In your experience, Sigrid, what are the main blocks?
I think the main blocks are, in my experience, first of all, people just don't know where to start, how to bring together all the different things they do. And it makes it really fearful in some ways not to know where to start. I've heard often in the room networking that people want to go there, but they feel, I don't know what to say when someone says, what do you do? I have to have something ready. And I think what you've just shared there, Jane, is excellent, which is something I will build on when it comes to my turn on this, is prepare something that can take away the fear. If you've got something prepared, then it makes it much easier to go networking, because you have words already that you can draw back on for your introduction. I think this mindset of not really being the expert that you are, whether that is as a job seeker, you have all this expertise around you, or whether that is as a business owner, that fear comes in. If I don't say the right thing, if I choose the wrong words, and that is a mindset of lack of confidence in that particular moment. You can be as confident in other moments, but that can pop up here with networking. Do you find that?
Yes. And you know what? People always think, they won't want to listen to me. No one will be interested. Who am I to go out there and network? Well, a good mindset shift is this question too. What will happen if I prepare the relevant talking points and I practice? What will happen? What are the good things that could happen? Rather than focusing on the negative, focus on the good things. And number 3 is, what is the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is someone doesn't understand what you're saying, so you really need to prepare. But another thing is, maybe you've prepared and you talk to someone who just isn't that nice, right? And they're more interested in themselves than in you. Well, they're not going to be a useful networking contact because they're too self-absorbed. So remember, you're not begging for referrals. You're not begging for anything. All you're doing is letting people know who you are, what you do, and how you are able to be of benefit. That's the important mindset shift in my mind. Okay, so your mindset is very important. Target marketing really helps with your networking as well, and I go into that in greater detail, through coaching in my Career Success Program. But it's also in my book if people are interested. So I hope you'll use this PDF. We will put it in the chat. If you haven't clicked, let us know, and we'll make sure that after the session we can at least send you PDF, which will be helpful. I've got notes and a little bit of a background on me, but I think that is enough from me with regard to this. I'm going to now remove my PDF from here. And if there are comments, I think there are lots of comments that we'll need to go through in a second, but let me add to the stage Sigrid's fantastic business owners networking method. Okay, so over to you, Sigrid.
Thanks for putting that on there. I want to start off with, while we have those 3 fresh templates right there on the screen, I just want to tap into what you shared last there around the marketing, the target marketing. It's really important. And I would say definitely for job seekers as much as for businesses, what are you actually looking for? What is that target that you have in mind? So I know you go into that into a wonderful detail with your clients, Jane, and that is something that I always look at as well in networking, particularly when you prepare your pitch, when you prepare something to talk about, to make sure that you know who you actually am talking to. Because if you use words that are not going to be familiar to the people you want to attract, you can't attract them. That's pretty logic in some way, and yet a lot of people misunderstand that or are not understanding that initially at all. So it's really good to have a script. That is something that I really like to share with business owners to network, because when you have that script, you can go in and out of that, you can change, but you have a baseline, something that you can start with. And Jane, if you go to the next slide that I have in my workbook, you can see there are 4 good reasons to use an intro script. Now, I won't go in great detail. You can read that in your workbook, but I want to mention that it does really reduce that anxiety that many business owners feel. It gives you that confidence boost when you have a script, and you can actually have several scripts. I'm going to share that with you in a moment when I give us an example around what sort of an introduction you can create for yourself. And a script also helps you to get really clear and concise on sharing who you are and what you do. Most of the time in a networking situation, people don't want to listen for a long time, all your background. They want to know what is it you actually do for them. That's a really important component. So clarity can be achieved when you do write out a script, because you will find sometimes lots of different words before you find the ones that really make sense to you and you know will hit the audience, hit the market. It also makes you memorable when you are short and sharp. People can remember it. We all have low attention spans for the very reason that we are doing so many different things these days. So when you can keep your details and you can script them for yourself, you can really hit on being memorable. And of course, also with a script, you can really direct the conversation in the way you want to lead the listener. So the types of words you use can lead the listener to exactly what the outcome is you want to achieve. Do you want them to contact you? Do you want them to download something? So there's a lot of detail that you can put into a script when you use one. So that is what I wanted to just mention about those 4 good reasons to use a script. Now, you might not, walk into a room with a script open in front of you. However, you have written it down and it seems to stay in your mind a lot better. So let's have a look at the templates, the 3 templates that I have, by going to the next page on there, on that workbook there, Jane. And if you have this printed out in front of you, certainly work on those 3 that I'm giving you here. And you can completely personalize each one of those for your situation to be very specific. Now, I'm using the Impact First intro formula from this workbook, and that formula says you know how, and then you insert your ideal client, often struggle with, and you put that pain point that they struggle with in there, and then you say, I help, giving the result, so that they can finally, and then that transformational outcome that you use. So this is the formula to use. What does this formula do? First of all, it starts with a question. A question, what does a question do? It opens immediately the listener's mind. We always have to answer a question, even if it's not directly for us or related to anything we do or we are. A question needs to be answered, so you're getting immediately the attention. You could vary this particular question if you wanted to. You could make it, instead of you know how, you could say, did you know, do you know? So there is leeway for you to use it in your more personalized way. I have got, for that particular version, here one way of using it. I would use it for myself in this way, this particular formula. You know how experienced coaches often struggle to turn their expertise into global clients? Well, I help them make new connections consistently and turn their conversations into collaborations, opportunities, and clients globally using live online networking. So that is my variant of that first impact first intro formula. I've got a second version very quickly. Who do you know that wants to make global connections, attract global collaborations and clients? I'm here to help them make new connections consistently and turn their conversations into collaborations, opportunities, and clients using live online networking. So that is that very first template that we have there. You can see, or you heard hopefully, how varied you could use that. You can put your own words in it. I want to mention something here in relation to putting your script or your pitch together. As a business owner in particular, you are always branding yourself when you use words. So make sure that you use words over and over so people can very quickly recognize you by your words. Just by your words. If you are coming up with different words and phrases, time and time again, something different, that's much harder for people to remember. And you want to be remembered so that you can be referred to. I hope that those variations have been helpful of that first impact first intro formula. And I am definitely open to answer any questions if you have something when we go to the end of the session, to have a quick look at what you might have come up with here, although it may take you a little while to really bring together what you want to say. I also put out for you the invitation that if you go about creating your short introduction in this way and you would like to test drive it networking, I do have a test drive opportunity for you next week at my live networking. We do that live on LinkedIn. You get to share who you are and what you do. And if you use one of these three, perhaps introduction pictures, I'm very curious to hear your version of it. I think that's probably what we want to share here, Jane, for now. I can go into some detail or some other answering of questions that might have come up. I think for the moment. Thanks, Jane.
Okay, well done. I think that was so helpful. You know what? While you were doing that, I have actually been using your method. And I think what I want to highlight is consistent vocabulary, using the words over and over again so it is ingrained in people's minds about what it is that you do. For me, it's career transition, and I help people with their career clarity. So your template number one, where it starts with, you know how many people struggle. So for me, I would say, you know how many people struggle with career clarity? Well, I help mid-career professionals identify what's most important in their lives and careers so they can confidently make the right choices. That template has made it so easy, hasn't it?
Fantastic, Jane. That's
Mhm.
exactly what I was pointing to. And I love that you've done that right there on the spot.
Yeah. And then your second one, which is before working with me. And so that's really helpful for business owners. Yes. And so
Mm.
keeping that same vocabulary. Before working with me, my clients felt frustrated, confused, and daunted about the job search process. After our work together, they become confident, clear, and excited about the next steps in their career. So then that comes up again as well. Yes. Yeah. And so this is so good. The final one is more about directing to someone in particular. If you're a business owner, if you're a job seeker and confused about the job search process, we should talk. I specialize in helping professionals get clear on what is possible and create a job search strategy that works. And the only reason why that was so easy was because of your template. That's very, very helpful, isn't it? And so working on it, whether you're a job seeker or whether you're a business owner, honestly, preparation is key. That's the way you're going to really do well. Yes. So what do you think, Sigrid? Should we open up to some questions, or do you have any final thoughts before we go into everything that's in?
Yeah, look, excellent. I love how you've done that and that you were so quick in using that. Now, I want to say we did not prepare this. That was just excellent, Jane. You just did it on the spot. So it really shows the templates are very usable. Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to put in just one bit of information here that often in networking, there are phrases used that are really not helpful when they are in a pitch. For example, just that phrase, I empower people to. The word empower as such does not create an image in the person's mind. It's really not giving the listener straight away something to stay with you, to keep listening to you. So think about how you could make it much more practical and use a word that directly creates an image in your mind. And therefore, to be more specific. So, for example, when somebody says not I empower, but says perhaps, I help people to go from overlooked to in demand, that's much more direct, specific, and you can imagine, you have that image of what that person does. You're being overlooked, and now you can be in demand. That person's helping you with that. I think that is just a really important part to consider. I just wanted to pop that in, Jane, as part of words to be used.
Very, very valuable advice there, because honestly, so many people do struggle with networking. So here, what I'm going to do now is, in the time that we've got left, and we might not be able to get to everything. So if we don't, what we'll do is we'll go into the comments underneath the events listing on my profile, and then Sigrid and I will answer your questions and comments after today if we don't get to everything. Okay, so here's a comment from David saying, making the initial contact, I feel, is the hardest part. Yeah, it's honestly, I read this book by Mel Robbins, and it's called The 5-Second Rule. And we normally talk ourselves out of doing something because it's like, oh, they don't want to talk to me, or who am I? What you should do is just do that 5-second rule. When you're a kid, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Then do that. Don't give yourself time to think. If you're going to reach out to someone, if you're going to go up to them and shake their hand, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just do it. Okay, that way you don't talk yourself out of it. Anything to add there?
I think that I love that, Jane. That is something that when I very first ever started with networking, I did actually struggle with that. What am I actually going to say? Will I go up? What do I do? That is a great way of just go up there and say hello and start the conversation. Absolutely. Just go for it.
Yeah. Too often we talk ourselves out of doing something.
Mm.
Let's see here. Now, the name doesn't pop up here. It just says LinkedIn user, but clearly articulating your pitch. Now, this was at the beginning when we first started. I think with my templates and Sigrid's templates, you now are able to clearly articulate your pitch. So I hope that has been helpful. Let's see. Here. Jirag, finding the right forums where you can connect with like-minded people with similar interests to yours. There's you've probably heard of meetup.com. It's not a dating site. It's an event site. Meetup.com, and you can type it, like business owners or some sort of technical users group or any topic that is of interest to yours. I mean, it could be, men riding bikes on the weekend. It could be anything at all. And that way you'd be able to find like-minded individuals depending on what your area of interest is. That really helps. Going to local chambers of commerce are very useful because they always have events happening, and you'll be able to introduce yourself and then ask people, is this a topic that is something that you're interested in, or that you have experience in, or have worked in? And then if not, then you can move on and talk to the next person. But usually people are quite well connected if they do go to chambers of commerce. What would you add, Sigrid?
Look, absolutely. I think Chamber of Commerce has probably the best range of types of businesses there. But I do want to just touch on this part of this question, finding the right forums for like-minded people. Now, I would assume that that is about wanting to talk about particular topics and connect on a particular area or area of expertise. For networking, if you are in business, it is of course useful not just to stay in groups of like-minded people and connect with similar interest people, but to broaden your horizon. For me, that's really important. That's why I created Global Business Networking live online, to connect with other people from other parts and cultures of the world, to get an understanding of how they do business, how they work, and what their connections are. So this may be specific to the person who asked it, but that is exactly what they're looking for. And you've certainly given a great answer there, Jane.
Mm-hmm. And let's see this one from, Linda. Linda says, getting people to respond to networking requests when you reach out to them. Some people don't respond at all, more ghosting, which is very frustrating. And if you're reaching out as a business owner, or whether you're reaching out as a job seeker, you really don't want to feel rejected. It's not nice, is it? So that's why, you remember I had the Pearl method, where you're giving your pitch, you're exploring, you're asking for referrals. So that when you do ask for a referral, if someone says, hey, you should be talking to so-and-so because, they're pretty well connected in this area, ask them, would you be happy to facilitate the introduction? If they refer you, it's more likely that you'll get more time from the other person, rather than being a cold call as such, because we all hate cold calling. I used to be a recruiter. I was in recruitment and I had to cold call. That's why I don't like recruiting. That's just sales. And I'm more of a relationship building type of person. So I'd much rather use it for like social selling, which is relationship building, getting to know people, and then they can connect the dots and think, this is who you should be talking to. Let me facilitate the introduction. That way it's more likely you will get people to respond. You mention the person who is the referrer. Okay, so either they introduce you and take the initiative, or else you say, I was talking to Sigrid or Jane the other day, and they recommended that I should get in touch with you. That way they'll think, well, Jane and Sigrid wouldn't waste my time, right? And so, okay, how can I help you? So that's the best way to do it, Linda. Sigrid, anything you'd add?
Yeah, I love that, Jane. Just a very quick point on that one when people don't respond. So I'm just going to clarify. I imagine that this means that the person is reaching out with a message perhaps and doesn't get a response to it. A great way is what you've just touched on there in your answer, Jane. A great way is to have someone else actually have you been introduced to that person. That does create a much warmer feel straight away. So if you want to connect for networking with a particular person, ask somebody you know to make the connection for you.
Exactly. Now, here's a good one from Gunnar, who says that the hardest thing for many people in networking is following up without being pushy. Now, Gunnar is a master networker. I've known Gunnar for a long time, and he's done ever so well. But yeah, that's right. It's really developing the relationships is so much better than wanting something from someone. This is why people don't want to network in the first place, because they think, oh, I don't want to ask for favors. Now, remember, you are not, if you're a job seeker, you are not asking for a job. You are asking for advice and guidance. If you ask someone, if you hear of any opportunities, can you let me know? Waste of time. No one knows of any opportunities at the drop of a hat, okay, unless they're a recruiter in your specific area. But everybody can give you advice and guidance. So if you say, you with your experience in this particular area, could I just get a few minutes of your time for a little bit of advice? And it's flattering when you ask someone that. It's more likely they'll say yes, because no one can say, no, I can't give you advice, or no, I can't give you any guidance, because they'll probably say, well, I'll do my best. I don't know how helpful I'll be, but yeah, let's have a chat. Okay, most people are much nicer than you realize. So you don't feel too pushy. Yes. Let me look at this comment. Kevin D. Burner. He's Kevin always says networking beats not working. Very good.
I like that. That's great.
And here we go. This is the link if you haven't downloaded the workbook. You just go to bit.ly/networking for job seekers. Okay. And did you put yours in the chat as well? Pop yours in the chat so I can.
Okay, I have to ask the techie question here, Jane, because I am using the chat on the outside of where you and I are, because I'm not able to connect on the inside here. We didn't talk about this earlier on the techie component. So I hope that it is still visible on LinkedIn itself, is where I have been commenting.
You put it under the comments under the event, because if so, it'll be there. I'll probably scroll down and see it. Once I see it, then I'll highlight it. And as I said, Kevin always says networking always beats not working. So Suzanne, business owner, finding relevant groups, events, and then the connection at them and following up. Yes. Okay. Well, I think we've covered that with regard to chambers of commerce, meetup groups, Sigrid's online global networking group as well. And yeah, following up, please always follow up, because if you don't, people, they're usually very nice, but then they forget. They've got a lot of other stuff on, and I'm terrible for forgetting, and I'm very happy for someone to follow up. Okay, hey, just reminding you said. Okay, and I'll go, oops, sorry, let me do it. So then that gives me a little bit of a hurry up. But if you don't follow up, it's not because I don't want to help. It's because I just got snowed under with other stuff, and I will get to it. But a reminder is always helpful. Now, this person says, while networking as a job seeker, the hardest thing is remaining authentic and balancing the position as being curious about the other person and positioning myself as looking for your next role. Yeah, okay. So stick with the curiosity first. It's the questioning, the active listening, finding out more about them, because everybody loves to talk about themselves. So if you focus more on them, but then work into it and say, oh, that's really interesting. I worked on something similar, and then you incorporate an accomplishment, then they'll be able to see how relevant you are. So that's one of the strategies. I hope that helps a little bit. Let's see. Oh, look, here's William saying, hi, Sigrid. Hi, William. What about hello, Jane? I'm here too. Okay. LinkedIn user says, which of the 7 career steps in your book do you find readers struggle with the most, and why? Okay. My 7 steps in this book Okay, navigating career crossroads. I have some under the acronym CAREERS, CAREERS. And so C, the first C is confidently manage change. The A is assess what makes you tick. The R is resumes and your marketing communication. E is express your personal brand. The next E for careers, there are 2 E's, explore job search strategies. R is relate your value and impress at interviews. And S is strategies for career success and negotiation. Okay. So explore job search strategies, networking comes under that. But the one that people struggle with the most is confidently manage change and assess what makes them tick. Because I found that when I was doing a survey before I wrote the book, I sent a survey to 200 of my past clients whom I thought would respond, and they did. They were wonderful. 68% said the most beneficial thing about being coached was discovering what they wanted to be when they grew up. So people don't know what they really want when they go through redundancy. So that's what most readers struggle with, and being able to get clear on who you are. And that leads into clarity with networking as well. That really helps so you can focus in the right direction. So I hope that helps. Let's see, there's another question here, which will be good. Let's see, Sigrid. The other thing I find hard about networking is what I can offer the other person. You mentioned sharing articles they might find interesting. What are some other ideas or suggestions? Do you want to chime in with this, Sigrid?
Okay, so articles is one thing. There is, of course, also the opportunity to perhaps do a conversation with them that you might record, and then you put it out there live with them, that if you wanted to, or you just have a conversation with them on a topic that you want to expand on, asking questions. This idea of asking is really important. When you ask a question like you have done here, Linda, on the screen, see, it gives us the opportunity to share what we know. We can connect with you. We get an idea for who you are a little bit in terms of how your thinking works. You're interested. You want to know more because you want to do it for yourself in the best possible way. So asking question is a great way. You could hand out or send over videos, for example, is another idea. And what I always find useful is just to enter into conversations and, giving something that you've already experienced, perhaps as just as a little document or something, if you are not writing too many articles, so you haven't got too much content ready yet. Is that useful?
I'm sure it would be. Yes. Also, I'd suggest that when you're following up and offering something to the other person who has spent time talking to you, asking them how you might be able to assist them or help them is really good, because everyone, has an area where maybe they could do with a little bit of help. And it could be either, helping to boost their profile on LinkedIn, or commenting on some of the content that they create, or asking specifically about, your area of expertise where they struggling too. So it goes both ways. Everyone always do with a little bit of from their friends. That's a good name for a song at some stage. Yes. So I hope that helps.
Jane, on that very briefly, I think a good way is to often in business, people don't want to really say, "Oh, I'm struggling with this right now," because it makes them look like not so successful. So you could say, this is something that I have recently come across and it didn't work so well for me. Is it something similar that you have? So you can make that little comparison there and point to yourself first to open the conversation further into something that you might be able to help them with.
Yeah, and that helps to position you as someone who is willing to be positive, proactive, and helpful too. Let's see, here's another question. You've been in previous contact with someone, former colleague or manager, but now you're looking to contact them on a slightly different basis, such as renewing contact to hopefully get a referral. How do you avoid coming across as changed, become more formal, or not genuine? Okay. So you've been in contact because you were working together, and now you're looking for a job, or you've set up your own business and you would like to pitch your business to them. That's what I'm assuming. Okay. And how do you avoid coming across as having changed? become more formal or not genuine. Okay, just be open and upfront when you reach out to them. Just say, hey, it's been a while since we've been in contact, and the first contact, don't ask for anything, please. The first contact is, hey, how are you going? See if they're going to respond to you, first of all. If you're doing, say, messaging on LinkedIn or messaging via email, it's just reach out and just say, hey, this is what's been happening in my world, what's been happening in your world. If you're free and have 10 minutes for a virtual coffee or an actual coffee catch-up sometime, would you be interested? See if they respond. They might ignore you. Okay, but if they do respond, then have that two-way conversation before you make an ask. So I would keep it a little bit more casual rather than being more formal, and I would never ever pitch anything from the beginning. There's nothing worse than having someone reconnect with you and then they want something immediately. So you've got to be, it's a bit of a fine line. So we'd need to really work on a strategy for that. Anything to add to that, Sigrid?
No, I think you're absolutely right. Just be upfront, mention to it, we have in the past had this type of connection. It is time for me now for this way, or I am on this path now and I wanted to engage with you on this other matter. So something like that makes it clear and open and sincere and authentic.
Here's a good question. How do you stand out among the millions that are applying for the same role? Oh my goodness, I just shared an article on LinkedIn today. Go and have a look at my second latest post because it's all about how competitive the job market is. LinkedIn has got new research that have come out, and oh yeah, this year it is pretty tough for job seekers. So you do need to make sure that you stand out. Number one thing I recommend is you need to build a strong personal brand, okay? You need to know who you are, who you help, what you do, and not just for the networking pitch, but also in everything that you put out there. If you're looking for a job, applying for roles, obviously you'll be on LinkedIn as well. Have a look at your LinkedIn profile. Is it really clear as to what you do? Do you have a banner that reflects your area of expertise? Is your headline optimized for semantic search, not just keyword stuffing, but actual phrases that show how you help, a little bit like the pictures that we've showed you through? And in your about section, have you given enough information where you are also repeating how you help organizations or your specific area of expertise? That will help. And then after that, Google yourself and see what turns up. If the wrong stuff is turning up, you've got to work a little bit harder on it. LinkedIn is searchable, through SEO, and it does make you more Googleable. And I always think that you're as good as how your Googleability. It's my favorite
word. So, that's a good word.
Strong brand. You're clear as to who you are, and get the word out. Publish. If you publish articles, newsletters, posts, it gets out there so that you are searchable as well. If you have it in you, you can spend time to write a good book about your area of expertise. That really helps you to stand out as well. Yes, what would you add, Sigrid?
Absolutely. What I would add is absolutely making sure when you are, as a business owner in particular, out there networking and you go and introduce yourself, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is in line with what you're talking about. There can be a massive disconnect with some people that they have something completely different on their LinkedIn profile to what they're talking about in the networking room. That big disconnect makes people question your credibility. Why is this person talking about such and such while the LinkedIn profile says something completely different? And that brings us back to what we said earlier as well, Jane. Be specific, be clear on one thing, as you mentioned too, on your profile, on your what you portray yourself to be. Be clear, be short and sharp, as we've said all along.
We're coming up to time now, so this will be our last question, and then we promise we will get to all of the other questions and comments in the comment section underneath the events. Sigrid and I will answer them. Okay, we'll tag you so that you know that you've been responded to. But this one, how do you recommend adding metrics to your resume if you don't have exact numbers or you aren't sure they're fully accurate? Okay, if you don't have specific dollar figures or numbers, you can turn it into a percentage, or else you turn it into a perceived benefit. Okay, because you can't exaggerate. You need to have accomplishments that demonstrate that you have improved something. You've streamlined a process, you've maybe mitigated risk, you have if you've improved profits, then you've got metrics. But if it's something more like you improved the culture within the department, and there aren't employee engagement surveys with metrics, then you could say which significantly improved the culture within the department, and you can talk about from feedback that you've received. So turn it into a perceived benefit. A percentage is not as like set in stone as a number or a dollar figure, and so you don't have to have a metric for every single accomplishment, but it needs to demonstrate that you have improved something. Okay, so if it's like which significantly improved, then that might be enough, because you can talk about it in greater detail during the job interview. But it does highlight that you did something that left something in a better position than before. Okay, especially
Yes.
if you may.
I've got a very quick example here for the business networking. For example, you could say something like, if you're coming to my networking, you gain consistent opportunities to be seen, heard, and recognized through structured introductions. So that consistent opportunities, while that is not a metric as such, it implies that it is consistently. So in that, it gives that detail. Would you agree, Jane?
Absolutely. I think clarity of purpose, clarity in communication is what we really want to highlight today. And if you're interested in online global marketing, follow Sigrid. And also the link, if you downloaded Sigrid's workbook, you'll see the link to actually register to attend her next global event. And if you're interested and you need some one-on-one coaching, then hop over here at janejacksoncoach.com and book an exploratory chat, and let's have a 15-minute chat and find out what's going on in your world at the moment. If you want to have a really affordable option for career coaching, then what I have got here is somewhere. Hang on, where is the link? Let me find it for you. Here we are. Here we go. It's thecareersacademy.online, because I've created something really affordable. You can get access to all of my online courses, exercises, templates for only 88 Aussie dollars. I think it's 60 US dollars, and you get 3 months immediate access to everything. So you can download, do the courses, get the career assistance that you want, and it's not going to break the bank, because I know if you've been looking for a job for a long time, funds might be a little bit tight. So you can have a look there as well. Okay, and make sure that you download Sigrid's PDF if you haven't already done so at this link, or you'll find it on Sigrid's LinkedIn profile. Okay.
Absolutely, Jane. And I just want to say, for those voices here in the comments that can't download the links, all of the links are actually on LinkedIn under the event where you originally registered. So if you can go back to that one, there are the links. We've put them several times into the comments there. You should all be able to see them on that particular platform under that event. And afterwards, it will be on Jane's profile under events, where you can access the replay of this. That's correct, isn't it, Jane? I'm not making this up.
Or send Sigrid a DM, send me a DM. If it's careers, obviously it's me. If it's business building, obviously it's Sigrid, and we're both really nice. We're just warm and fuzzy people who like to help, basically. Okay. Which is why we do this, and we love to collaborate. So the important thing is that reach out to us, connect with us, ask your questions, have a look under the events, and you'll find our responses to your questions if we haven't already responded to them. And thank you so much for all the really lovely comments from Hussam and Chirag and Linda and Fahmy and oh, Kevin, hang on. As Aristotle, hang on, let's end with this one. As Aristotle might have said, true networking is engaging in beneficial behavior and for the mutual good. Perfect, Kevin.
Totally.
Love that one. That's really good. Okay, we'll answer your other questions, everybody else, in the chat. So go back to the events and do that. But for now, thank you so much. And I'm going to end the stream and say, see you on LinkedIn. Sigrid,
Thank you. Wonderful. Been great to be here, and we will come and answer your questions or connect with us. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.